Hey everybody, welcome to Massimo Motivation. My name is Chris from Massimo. I'm the owner of Massimo Motivation LLC and the co-owner of Avanti Counseling and Consulting. And today, I'm going to talk to you about 5 myths about law school that you should know if you're considering going to school. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome. Again, my name is Chris from Massimo, and I just finished my first semester at Texas A&M School of Law, and it was a ride. That's the only way I can really put it, is a ride. I'm super happy that I'm in it. I really enjoy law, but man, it is a ride. There are some things that you should know if you're considering going to law school that just simply aren't true, and we're just going to jump right in so we can get through these. Number one, not everybody's out to get you. Like what I thought when I was going to law school is that everybody's this lone wolf, and because it's very competitive and everybody's type A, that everybody's going to try to cut each other's head off. It was not like that at all. Now, obviously, I go to Texas A&M, and I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but where I go, it's the opposite. Like everybody's in the same boat of suffering, pretty much, of like this like endless. If you watch my other video where I talk about reading 2,500 pages in 3 months, you'll hear about the suffering. Like there's a lot of different versions of suffering in law school, and there was more camaraderie and care than I had anticipated. And I can't say it's for all law schools, but it's just wrong to think about law school as this place where everybody is out to get everybody. So that's number one, know that. Number two, which is kind of related to number one, is your grades still do matter though. But maybe not like you thought it would. So what most people think about with law school is probably if the law school is good enough, I go to law school, I come out a lawyer, I make a lot of money. That's not true. Okay, not all lawyers make a lot of money. A lot of lawyers make about $80,000 a year right now. So there's actually a gap between kind of like the back 50% of the class and the top 50%, and then another gap between the top 50% and like the top 5 to 20% of your class, depending on what school you go to. And those, groupings determine the money you make. So while everybody's not necessarily out to get you, everybody is out to get a good job. And that requires getting good grades. So the myth for number 2 is really your grades do matter, but maybe not the way you thought they did. Most law schools on a curve, meaning, I don't know what percentages, but the mass majority of people will end up at a B because the mass majority of people are like good enough to do well in law school, but not elite. And they want to separate the people who are the top 10%, top 20%, big firm type people from the bottom tier. And then everybody else kind of gets jumbled in between. And if you're not in that top 50%, it's going to be really hard to get the kind of job that you probably want. Now that's not like an absolute per se. A lot of other things can help you, but your grades, they do matter, so know that. Number 3, you'll have to argue with other students. That's not true, not in my experience. Like you're not getting up in class and debating somebody and giving your opinion and making sure that your opinion sounds better to the professor and getting a grade for that. Like that's not a thing that I experienced or that you will probably experience. You're not going to get up in front of the class and debate. Now you will get up in front of the class and go back and forth with your professor, and they will try to make you look dumb sometimes in a nice way. It's the Socratic method, right? The cold calling if you watch my other video. But you're not going to do that with other students. So that's just not true, okay? Again, mostly camaraderie, mostly supportive, not super hostile, not super aggressive. Very type A people, but not super aggressive. Number 4, you're too old to go to law school. I'm 28. I have 2 businesses. I already have 2 degrees. I decided to go back to law school. The short version is because I made a mistake. I should have gone to law school to begin with, and it's not too late. I am happier now going to law school than I was doing my actual job making money. Now, there were certain facets of my job and running my businesses that I loved. There were certain facets of that I hated. And I know where I'm supposed to be now, and I'm very thankful to be in law school, but you're not too old to go. That's not a thing. I would say most people in my class are probably in their early 20s. They're coming out of undergrad, but there are plenty of people older than me, and there are plenty of people right around my age. I would say if I had to pick the biggest, part of the pie chart, it would be students coming out of undergrad. but it's certainly not half the class is coming straight out of undergrad, right? Like, it's a mix. You can go back. It's okay, I promise. And actually, the last thing I'll say about that is a lot of the career service people have told me if you have already been a professional, that may benefit you getting internships and getting jobs. So there is a benefit. Number 5, you can't have a life. That's kind of a myth. I wanted to include it here because I chose not to have a life, right? Because I want to make, the highest percentage I possibly can in my class. I want to get a big firm job. I'm really interested in corporate law and business law, M&A, mergers and acquisitions, and fund formation, things like that. And in order to do that type of law, you have to do really well in school, and I sleep better at night after I work my butt off than when I don't. So I chose not to have a life, but it's a myth to think that you can't. There were plenty of people who had spouses. There were plenty of people who took vacations, weekend vacations, during the semester and came back and went to school. Like, you can do that. I worked as well, right? So I guess that's, I don't know, like you'd call that having a life. I probably wouldn't. But I did that on Fridays and sometimes on Sundays. I had to manage my businesses still, and I was still able to go to law school. So it's a myth to say that you can't. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you have a great life, but like my Xbox controller, like you can't see it obviously because I'm in the gym right now recording this video, but that was dusty. Like, I didn't touch that Xbox controller for 3 months. But I did work and I did spend time with my loved ones. So you can do that. So I hope this was helpful for you. These are the 5 myths, in my opinion, the main things that came to my mind about law school. I hope it's helpful for you if you're considering going to law school. You should definitely apply to Texas A&M because it's the best law school ever. But if this was helpful, if there's something missing, if there's something you want me to add about law school and my experience as I go, leave a comment. Let me know what you want that to be. Hit the subscription button, share the video, and remember, mind, muscle, maximize.